What's up, everybody? It is that time of year where we start to get excited about F1 2022 and what new features they might add into the game. And with EA now buying Codemasters, there is higher expectations than ever from us Formula One fans. I'm going to be going over a few things this video, and I'm going to split them up into three different categories: career mode, online multiplayer, and other features. And we're going to talk about what improvements they might be able to make this year and years to come. First thing we're going to talk about is Breaking Point. I thought Breaking Point was a great new addition into F1 2021, and I'd love to see the continuation of that series. There is talks that they might not include it into F1 2022, and they might bring it back in F1 2023, and I would be okay with that, because I want to make sure that they have a polished, finished story mode rather than a rush story mode, and push it into F1 2022 and it not be as good, because then it will disappoint fans, and it'll be a bit like the journey in FIFA, that a lot of hype at the start, and then by the third time they put it out, no one really cared about it. But the story mode Breaking Point has such huge potential, especially in an F1 game where it's a solo driven game, if you know what I mean, because FIFA, 11 players on the pitch, it's not so solo, whereas in F1 you're the only driver, so it makes sense to have a story mode game, and it could be so good if EA get it right. So I'd love to see the continuation of Breaking Point. Next thing we're going to go over is customization of the track calendar. In F1 2021, it's a bit frustrating that you can only do 10, 16 or 22 races. I'd love to see it where you can do as many as you want. Why is there a limit? I do not know. I think they should maybe have a minimum of 5 races, and then you can pick however many races you want from there on out. And you should be able to change what races you want at certain times. Like, for example, Australia in F1 2021, you can only have that at the end of your race season, whereas it would be cool to customize it where you could have Australia as your first race of the season, or your 5th, or your 6th. Same with Brazil, because right now in F1 2021, your last race has to be Abu Dhabi if you have Abu Dhabi in your calendar. Whereas it'd be cool, maybe I want Abu Dhabi in my 5th race or my 6th race and not as my last race. So I think they could update that and change that around, and so allow a bit more customization to the track calendar each year. Next thing we're going to talk about is simulation, and by simulation I mean simulating races. So say if you're in a long season and you want to get through a couple races a little bit quicker, it'd be cool if they added a bit more in-depth simulation feature. So say for example you can watch it, obviously speed it up to maybe 8 times speed so it doesn't take too long, but maybe you can decide when you want to pit, what tires to use, and just make it a little more in depth. So it'd be a cool little feature for those people that do simulate races every now and then, as they don't want to race every single race on the calendar, which is fair enough. And I think it'll be a nice addition to the game, like they did with FIFA, and simulating games in career mode like that. I think that's an idea that they might be thinking about as well. So it would be cool to see that added to the game. Next, we're going to talk about AI strategies and AI mistakes. This is a problem in F1 2021 for me. AI strategies just they don't work. You know, it's like there's occasions when a safety car will come out around lap 11 or 12 in like a 30 lap race, and the AI will stay out on a set of mediums, and the moment a safety car comes in, the AI the next lap will come and pit for a pair of hards, and it just doesn't make sense at all. It just kind of ruins the race in some aspects, because it's like, yes, you gain those places and you're like, let's go, but at the same time it's like it would never happen in real life. So it ruins the realism of the game. I think they need to adjust that and correct that. And it's also like certain times as well, yeah, AI will go on a pair of softs, and then they'll come out on a pair of hards when they could have went on the mediums for only like 7-8 laps. So I think EA need to focus on that and improve that, especially in career mode. And also AI mistakes. I'm happy that they've added these AI mistakes in, because they didn't have it in the previous games, and now you see the AI spinning every now and then. But the spins are so forced. You can see if you ever watch the instant replays, they just go on full throttle and they just spin around. So it would be cool if they could add a few new ways for the AI to make mistakes instead of that, because it just looks so forced, and at times it can be kind of annoying. Another topic I'm going to talk about is allowing pit crew errors. Now, I think this should be an option for people if this was added to the game, just like mechanical failures is an option. I think allowing pit crew errors should also be another option. And this is just basic things such as having a longer pit stop. So you come into the pits and maybe your wheel nut gets stuck, for example. And instead of a 3 to 4 second pit stop, which you were hoping for, it turns out to be a 7, 8, 9 second pit stop. And it adds another problem into your race, but also adds realism into the career mode, because these things do happen in real life. It would be cool if this could be added for the AI as well. So maybe it ruins an AI race and you take advantage from it. So it can go both ways. And I think that'll be a cool addition into the game and just add more realism into career mode. Another thing that I would like to see added is allow unlapping under safety car. Now, it is frustrating in a race when you go around on your first lap, you start the race and you get wing damage straight away. And say if you're a sim racer who loves to keep the realism and you don't want to restart, if you get wing damage on lap 1, there's a high chance that you could get lapped. And if you get lapped, your race is over, essentially. Because even if a safety car comes out, you can't unlap yourself. And I think EA should focus on that, especially on the career mode side of things, because it'll be cool to be a lap down, for example. A safety car comes out, you can unlap yourself, and bang, you're back in the race. So if they do this, this will keep people motivated who are a lap down, because once you're a lap down, it's over. It's almost like if you see people right behind you and you're getting blue flagged, you're not going to let them pass, because you know if you let them pass and a safety car comes out, it doesn't matter. So it'd be cool to add that feature to the game. Another big one is bug fixes, especially for co-op. I mean, there's not much more to be said. Fix it. Just fix it. Just make it work. And you'll have bug fixes like you'll take new engine penalties and you won't even get penalized for it. You'll stay exactly where you qualified. Just, we need EA to fix that, okay? It'll make the game a lot better for us. Next thing is allow for longevity of career mode. Once you get to the 4th, 5th, 6th season in career mode, it starts to get a bit dull. There's not much going on. You know, you have so many resource points, and it's just, the game gets dull at that point. They need to make something to keep it interesting. I don't know how, but that's what they're getting paid for. Keep career mode interested. Don't let it die out after the 3rd and 4th season. Please try ways to keep it interesting, and don't make it so easy that you're the fastest car in the 5th, 6th season. Maybe add like huge regulation changes where it really hits your car and you can't do anything about it, and all of a sudden you're back down to a midfield side and you have to work your way up. Because once you get to the 5th season in my team, and say if you didn't change any of the menus options, you're going to be a top team the whole time, as long as you just keep upgrading your stuff. So I think EA need to focus on the longevity of career mode and how they can keep it interesting for career mode users. Another thing in career mode would be pit lane order. It's a minor detail, but in my team, even if you win the season, if you're constructor, you win the constructor championships the previous season, you're still at the back of the pit lane. It's still the exact same all the way down. So it would be cool if, depending on where you finish, is where you are in the pit lane. You know, it's a minor detail, but it's something that would, again, add to the realism of career mode. And last but not least, under the career mode category is improved interviews. I'd like to see interviews actually have an effect on something, because right now it doesn't seem like it has an effect. I mean, I know it says your claim has been affected and all this, but it doesn't really have an effect. And it'd be cool if, you know, it actually felt like it did something. It's always the same questions after every race, and sometimes they're wrong, you know, so it's like, just gets boring and old, and I think they need to fix it up. So also in improved interviews, they could also add post-race interviews like they do in real life. You know, the top 3 finishers, they all go into a room and they answer questions from the media, and you have a little cutscene. That would also be pretty cool. Next thing we are going to talk about is online multiplayer, and we all know that online multiplayer can be improved significantly, and I think EA can do that job. First thing is improved ranked system. Right now, it doesn't seem worth it to do a ranked race when you could just go into a social race. It doesn't entice me enough as an F1 player to do ranked racing. I think they need a revamp of the division system and the league system, and I think they could do it in a way where each week you're set in a division with 50 people, let's say, and the top 10 in that division will get promoted, the bottom 10 will get relegated, and you have to say, let's do 10 ranked races or 20 ranked races that week, and depending on how well you do in those ranked races is how many points you get. And if you get a certain amount of points and you finish in the top 10 out of those 50 people in your league, you get promoted. And if you finish in the bottom 10, you get relegated. Just something to get fans to play it each week, and just make online multiplayer competitive again, and actually make people want to play a ranked mode online multiplayer game. Moving on now to social races and how they can improve that is consecutive races in a row without having to back out into the lobby every single time. When you come onto F1 and you want to do a few races online, you don't want to have to sit in the lobby for the majority of the time. I think what they can do is, say in social races, the lobby leader, let's say, selects 5 races. Once you go into that first race, then you consecutively load into these races after that without having to go back to the lobby each time. So once you see the results of the previous race, you load into the next race and you go straight there. This would mean you won't have to sit in the lobby for 5 minutes every time in between races. And if you wanted to go do 5 races, you could get 5 races done online within 30 minutes instead of actually only getting 2 or 3 maximum in 30 minutes on the current servers that we have. So I think they could do something like that to improve social races and just races that people just want to do for a bit of fun. Next thing we're going to talk about is custom made tracks by fans. I think this would be very, very cool indeed if they could add a feature like GTA do in their game, where fans could just create their own tracks, crazy as they want, and we could race them online, or we could, or you could add them in your career mode, let's say, or just something cool like that where fans can have an impact on the game. I think this would be really, really cool. You could see some crazy tracks. I think it would just be epic. Moving on now to our third and final category, which is other features. And the first one I'm going to talk about, which I think everybody will agree needs to be added as soon as possible, and that is crossplay. And I really hope they add this into F1 2022. It would be so cool to be able to play with Xbox, PlayStation, and PC all in one lobby. And everybody's been asking for this, and they need to add it. They just need to. You have it on games, and FIFA and Madden. They need to add this on F1 as well. Virtual reality, another thing that needs to be added into this game. I'm not sure if we'll see it in F1 2022. Hopefully we do. If not, it needs to get added in F1 2023. Fans have been asking for this for years, and it would just add a whole new dimension to this game. Do you imagine going around the street circuits and there's big crashes and you're sitting in the cockpit of an F1 car? I mean, it'll make career mode so much better as well. I mean, I'll be playing that all day. So I think virtual reality should be a focus that EA should focus on, really. It'd make the game so much better, and it'll add a whole new dimension to the game. Next thing we're going to talk about is the customization of the rules. So the problem I have in F1 2021 is I don't like the regular rule setting, and I don't like the strict rule setting. I want something in between, or something where I could customize it. So the problem is, on strict, is you get 2 warnings, and then on your third one you get a penalty. Now some people like that, very strict, and you have to be careful all race. But other people also don't like that. They want to have to stick within the limits, but they don't want to be punished so severely so quickly. And that's why they need to find a middle ground. And I think they should do something where, say if you want strict rules, you should be able to customize how many warnings you get before you actually get a penalty. So say if I want the strict rule settings, so if I go wide, I get a warning. I want 4 warnings before they give me a penalty. So then I could change it on the career mode. I could say I want 4 warnings, and then the 5th one, I get a 3-second time penalty. I think they should do something like that, and that way people can have more flexibility with the rules in their own career mode. And I think that'll be a great new addition to the game. Red flags, red flags, red flags. We all want it, especially in career mode. Add it. Last one is more licensing. F3. It'll be really cool to add Formula 3 into the game. And if they add it, they can add it into the story mode. You can add it into your career, and it'll be cool to work your way up from Formula 3 all the way to Formula 1. And for people who love career mode, they would love that addition as well. Those are all the features that I think should be added into F1 games in the near future. Hopefully some of them will be added into F1 2022. And if you guys have other features that you believe should be added, go ahead and leave them down in the comments below, and I'll go ahead and I'll read them and I'll comment back my thoughts on them as well. If you guys did enjoy watching, be sure to leave a like on the video and go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.